Although Wicked is prominently focused on the relationship between Elphaba, Cynthia Erivo, and Glinda, Ariana Grande, the Wizard of Oz Dorothy does have a small cameo. Despite being the main character in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy's time in the spotlight is quite limited in 2024's Wicked, and the same is true in the original Broadway musical production with a very small spotlight. However, her presence is no less crucial to Wicked's overall narrative. The leading protagonist in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy Gale, finds herself in the land of Oz after surviving a Kansas twister. After walking down the yellow brick road and making new friends along the way, Dorothy is tasked with defeating the Wicked Witch of the West at the request of the wizard. However, Wicked provides an alternate retelling of what really happened in Oz before Dorothy's arrival and during the original Wizard of Oz storyline. As such, Dorothy's role takes a backseat in Wicked, though her cameo speaks to her future and likely a somewhat bigger spotlight in next year's sequel. Dorothy has a cameo at the beginning of Wicked. Leading into No One Mourns the Wicked, Dorothy on Yellow Brick Road in Wicked. 2024's Wicked opens very much like the original Broadway musical with its opening number, No One Mourns the Wicked. Ariana Grande's Glinda the Good is shown recalling her relationship with Cynthia Erivo's Elphaba as Munchkinland celebrates the Wicked Witch's apparent demise at the hands of Dorothy, who was seemingly able to melt her with a bucket of water. To that end, Dorothy, Toto, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion are all seen from behind, walking down the yellow brick road with Elphaba's broom in hand to deliver it to the wizard back at the Emerald City. The appearance of Dorothy in Wicked's first act is quite brief as it leads into No One Mourns the Wicked. That said, the trailers for 2024's Wicked did feature other shots of Dorothy wearing silver slippers, as well as the girl and her friends meeting the Wizard of Oz, Jeff Goldblum, himself. However, it seems these other sequences were cut aside from the Yellow Brick Road sequence ahead of the movie's opening song number. How Dorothy's role in Wicked compares to the musical. Keeping her out of the spotlight. Dorothy in Wicked musical. In the original Broadway musical, Dorothy is similarly and intentionally kept out of the spotlight. That said, references are made, and her presence is certainly felt especially during the second half of the production when the events of The Wizard of Oz begin. However, Dorothy Gale never appears on stage aside from her silhouette being shown as she throws the bucket of water to melt Elphaba. In the same vein, it looks like 2024's Wicked and its sequel intend to keep Dorothy's role largely in the background as well. After all, the focus is meant to be squarely on Elphaba, the truth of her story as the Wicked Witch of the West, and her relationship with Glinda. That said, one can imagine that Dorothy could indeed have a bigger role in Wicked's sequel next year compared to the original Broadway production. Will Dorothy be in Wicked, Part 2? Her role will likely stay small. It wouldn't be surprising if the unused shots of Dorothy seen in the trailers might have been saved for the sequel, rather than being cut altogether. Due to the new medium of a cinematic experience as opposed to a live stage production, it follows that Dorothy's role might be expanded in Wicked, Part 2. After all, a theatrical adaptation has a greater ability to provide further and greater context into how Wicked's story intersects and retells the original Wizard of Oz story. As far as Wicked 2 is concerned, Dorothy's role will likely be bigger than a silhouette. That being said, audiences still shouldn't expect too much of an increased role in the upcoming sequel set to release on November 21st next year. Although her presence is crucial to the events of Wicked and its story, it's quite likely that Dorothy Gale's face might not ever be shown in Wicked, Part 2, effectively maintaining the intention of the original story and musical that the story instead belongs to Elphaba and Glinda and the truth about Oz.